Hello, my name is Flavio Castaneda, and I will be talking to you about the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. The summary of the novel is that the novel is divided into seven parts, which each part portrays an important event that happens to the Price family. In Genesis, the Prices embark on their trip to Congo from Georgia. Here in Congo is where they discover their possessions they brought them do them no good. They also must learn the ways of the jungle quickly to survive. In Revelation, the political situation is discovered with threats from the communists to take over and a new leader arising from the people named Patrice Lumumba. In the Judges, the Prices struggle to stay in Congo with the problems arising as Ruth May and Orleana become sick to where they must stay in bed. In The Bell and the Serpent, the family reaches a major breaking point when the family is cursed by the village witch, which was caused by Leah going hunting with the men and them placing a venomous snake, the green mamba, in their chicken house, where, as driving it away, Ruth May is killed by it. In Exodus, Orleana flees with her living children to a neighboring village, and here's where, after this happens, Rachel marries a pilot after making a deal with him to help her leave. Leah stays in Africa and marries Anatoly, while Ada and Orleana go back to Georgia, as she leaves her husband in the village to keep her children safe. Song of Three Children basically details the lives of the three daughters as they grow. And in the last one, In the Eyes in the Trees, the living sisters and mother return to find the village they lived in to be destroyed. However, Ruth May coming back as a just coming back to her mother offers her mother forgiveness for her death. The main characters in the novel were mainly just the family members, which were Orleana Price, which was the mother of the four children and the husband of Nathan Price, also known as the Reverend. And the next character is Nathan Price, who was the Baptist missionary and the father who took his family to Africa. Rachel Price was the oldest daughter, who was notable for her pride and her vanity, while Leah Price was the middle daughter and also the twin with Ada, who she was devoted to her father greatly. Ada Price was Leah's twin and also the middle daughter, was handicapped by a limp like leg. And Ruth May Price, the youngest daughter, was described as an independent spirit, and she was killed by the Green Mamba. One of the major characters not part of the family has to be Anatole Nagembe, who was a school teacher in Kalanga, who later in life married Leah, as Leah decided to stay in Africa, in the Congo. The setting, it takes place in 1959 when the father takes his children from Georgia to the Belgian Congo as missionaries. And during this time, as they go through all they do throughout the novel, they go through this history as the Congo was in a crisis as they had become independent from Belgium, which is thus starting civil wars and wars for 5 years, which killed nearly 100,000 people. There was three major themes. Three major themes were portrayed in the story, and I chose there was many major themes, but I chose three. And one of the themes I chose was religion, as it was one of the major themes in the novel, as it was so strong for the Reverend, also known as the father, Nathan Price, to have his family move to Africa, completely change their lifestyle, have one of his children killed, but still have faith, very strong faith, to remain in the village and spread his religion around. This theme is very impactful as it alters everything done with the family, beginning with the first part of the book where they move to Africa. For the Reverend Nathan Price, the theme religion for him was upheld, while his wives and daughters decided to survive and flee rather than keep trying to spread their religion throughout the Congo during the Civil War time. Another theme presented was guilt, as the guilt was addressed not by the father but by the mother, Orleana, as after returning from Africa to Georgia and living in a retirement home, she felt so guilty for her youngest daughter Ruth May being killed, as she feels she could have prevented it, and that they never they thought they could have stopped it. And the theme was resolved near the end as the mother got forgiveness from her deceased daughter. Another theme portrayed was freedom, as it's portrayed in numerous ways, from the family wanting to be free from the turmoil and diseases gained in Africa to the villagers wanting to fight for their freedom from the communists. It is very impactful as it drove the family to flee the village and the daughters to be free as well from what they went through. The theme is seemed to be sort of forgotten after like it is achieved by the mothers and daughters, but then again, it's never forgotten as they gain their freedom. Some literary devices that were portrayed were personification, where during the first few pages where they describe the forest eats itself, as it is used here to give the forest a human ability of eating that they can't truly do, and being cannibalistic as well by eating themselves. Another literary device used is paradox, which was also in the first paragraph on page 5, with delicate, poisonous, and the life out of death, as the paradoxes are used here by describing something as being delicate, as being needed to care for, but also known as poisonous, as to not go anywhere near it, as well as saying there is life out of death, however something is dead, but yet something is alive from that. Another literary device that's used as metaphor with God's lambs, as the metaphor of God's lambs is used here as to compare the lambs of being so great cared for that they must have been God's lambs, as being the lambs above all. And parallelism was used as well in 310 with Tata Bondas carrying and used again as Tata Lakula as rowing as the same structure. And it's used here to show more emphasis on what the characters are doing, but how they all must have something to do. Some response questions that were created throughout my group and myself as well were, what choice would I have made being the father and seeing the Congo on the verge of war that could endanger my family, although I'm trying to spread my religion here? If I was the father, although I was a reverend and knowing that my main job is to spread the religion, I would have not seen that my family would have been in danger and prevented it by moving out as the other Belgian family did whenever the Belgian government pretty much let Congo be free, be independent. The next question was, suppose you were Leah and you could have prevented Ruth May from being killed by not trying to go with the men to hunt but please your father as you would have gone to hunt, what would you have done? I personally, if I were Leah, I know she was like thriving to have her father's approval, but if she could have prevented her younger sister from being killed and her still be alive, then I would have done that instead of going to go hunt with the men to try to please my father. The next question is, how would you improve the father's view on family survival over spreading the religion idea? I would try to have him realize that if he wants his family to survive, he must put his family over him spreading religion, although he may not want to see that because he's a reverend and that's his main job is to spread religion. And the final question is, how would you justify the mother's decision to leave her husband and protect her children by fleeing? I see it as deemable because she she put her children over herself and her husband to protect them so they wouldn't be killed, which is something a mother should do. Some of my favorite quotes from this novel was, the first one is, "We're supposed to be calling the shots here, but it doesn't look to me like we're in charge of anything, not even ourselves." That was said by Rachel when she realizes early on how it may not look like they're to be in charge, but actually in a good amount of trouble that they're there. The next one is, "It's a heavenly paradise in the Congo, and sometimes I want to live here forever," which was said by Leah, and it's funny to me because how it foreshadows Leah actually ends up staying in the Congo, raising a family, which her wish actually came true. Another one of the quotes I was one of my favorites was, "You always think you know more about their kind than they know about yours, which just goes to show you," which was said by Rachel, which she sheds light not only in the context of the book of how she was accepted by one of her friends that was an African family and her father didn't realize it, but it sheds light in real life as well, how we think we know something about other religions and all that, but really they can know just as much about us. And the last quote was, "In Congo, it seems the land owns the people," which is said by Leah, and she's pretty much saying if you don't live by the rules of the land, then the land will destroy you. A unique discovery I made with the story was how the history based around the book actually happened, where it was known as the Congo crisis, where the Congo country became independent from Belgium, causing communists to try and overtake it, to control it, causing wars and civil wars as well. These wars lasted over 5 years and killed nearly 100,000 people, and countless more have fled and became refugees in various countries. And my source was the Congo Crisis on Wikipedia website. My final analysis over this book is that um, I my final thoughts are the question of how your religion drives you to put your family in danger with one of your children dying and the other's almost on the verge of it. Like, how would you have being the father allow that to happen, knowing you should protect your family above all costs? And which is where I give great praise to the mother for realizing this and choosing the safety of her children over her husband's goals. The book overall was a decent book, not a bad book, but not one I would enjoy to read over and over. Although, just like other good books and great books, it always has a moral lesson in it, as well as having many other small lessons as well.